lot of hot girls in my party.
Hi guys, I'm actually early for MMA Live at 5, a minute early. I better get a beer.
Yeah.
You should go out with one of the choir girls.
Yeah. We could probably play D&D with one of those choir girls.
He used to.
We had a game.
No, he don't got games to see.
So, hey guys, two Rizin events coming before the end of the year. They're gonna be on pay-per-view. We're gonna be able to watch head kicks again. It's gonna be just like the Pride years. You're gonna pay for it. It's $19.99 for one day of the pay-per-view, or $29.99 for 2 days of it. And I believe they're gonna do it on the 29th and the 31st. So it's gonna be like an awesome tournament. Frank Trigg and Joe Ferrero are gonna be commentators. I'm super excited. And it is in Japan. It's under the old Pride rules. As far as I can see, it looks like everybody's going to be jacked up like back in the day too. So no rules league. Again, he's on the ground, kicks on the ground, and everybody jacked up on steroids. So how's it going, Zolden? Man, I love me some Pride back in the days. I don't know if you guys watched a lot of Pride, but you've definitely seen their fighters do well in the UFC. Rampage Jackson, Vanderlei Silva, you know, ton of those other guys that were really big in both leagues or became big later. Sakuraba, of course, was one of the heroes. I'm doing good, man. We just barely made it in time. I got some really good traffic coming out of Everett. I almost thought I was going to be late. So, thanks for coming on. How's your week going, man? What do you think about Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic?
He has a name. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God, that would be awesome. But, dude, Miocic and Ngannou is going to be the best heavyweight fight in a long time, I have a feeling. Ngannou's got that power, Stipe's got an all-around game, and he's got amazing footwork.
Shiny skulls and like...
Can someone please... Hey, Rebecca, can you please let the dog out? He's barking really loud. Thank you. I have a dog that barks like he's got wears an intercom. But, no, I'm excited about that one, though. I'm excited. Stoked. I don't think strong punches are short range, but I think that will work. If Ngannou catches him with one of those wild punches, it's gonna be crazy. And I was actually listening to Stipe Miocic. He was on Joe Rogan's weekly MMA show now, and Joe Rogan was actually talking about Ngannou, and Stipe was saying, yeah, he walks around about 250. And he's like, no, dude, Ngannou drops weight to make 265. He was at 262 in the last fight. So a month away from the fight, and I was kind of surprised that Stipe didn't know Ngannou's walk-around weight, but he actually seemed pretty excited about that. It sounds like his camp's going really well. He's still doing the fighter thing. That's crazy. You imagine being a full-time firefighter and the heavyweight champion of the world, or better yet, being stuck in a fire, and the heavyweight champion of the world comes up a ladder to save you. I think I'd feel a little bit better about my predicament in that case. I'd be a little more confident in seeing Stipe Miocic coming up a ladder.
I guess I should put my teeth in before I start.
That's got to be a crazy clubhouse. So with the 24 hours on, 24 hours off. Just maybe I should have made another announcement that we were going live. We're going to go live at 5 every Thursday now. We're going to try to at least. But yeah, of course, no surprise that George dropped his title. Roger Whittaker was, I don't think he's getting the respect he deserves, but, he's the undisputed champ now. He's going to fight Luke Rockhold. That's going to be an incredible fight. Doesn't look like that date's been announced yet, but man, we got to get together. We got to do Stipe and Ngannou. I got to do one for Stipe and Ngannou. I don't know if I'm going to do the 29th yet for Cyborg at home because it's close to New Year's, but I'm taking Holly home in that one. I'm taking Holly home but I think she just walks around in a bigger weight. Maybe I talked about that before. She's got those nice thick thighs, and yeah. But can't count Cyborg out for sure. Never count Cyborg out. That's gonna be the best female fight I think we've had in a long time, though. I don't like the Rockhold got the fight. Should have been Gastelum or someone else on a win streak. Rockhold got KO'd by Bisping, nothing else. I agree. Gastelum definitely deserved a shot. And Rockhold, it seems like Rockhold lost. He obviously underestimated Bisping, and yeah, I kind of felt like he should have had another fight too. I kind of felt like he should have, if anything, fought Weidman. I don't like watching the Cyborg because she did TRT for years, not for the gains. Yeah, she was definitely one of those ones. Same reason I don't like watching Alistair Overeem. I mean, he was overroid for how many years, and that was, you know, be a big Ronda Rousey fan or not, I mean, that was obviously one of the big reasons she never wanted to fight her. And that's why she's like, if you're going to fight me, you can fight me at 135. And she knew she couldn't make it down to 135 naturally. And who knows what she's doing now. But, of course, now she's the 145-pound champ. And honestly, I hope Holly Holm kicks her head off. She removed the estrogen from her body and was all testosterone building muscle like a man for years. Not cool. No, she's at best she's a transgender man, in my opinion, and that's not someone who should be fighting in MMA. Chris Cyborg. She took testosterone and had estrogen pulled from her body. Yeah. My daughter, the wrestling superstar, was commenting. She heard me talking about Cyborg there. She's excited. She just got a Letterman's jacket, actually, with her, just ordered her wrestling patch, her Letterman jacket and her wrestling patch, so she's super excited. And this family, I mean, I grew my kids up. I don't know if I'd recommend that for everyone else because maybe gave her a little bit of a temper issue, but we pretty much grew up on heavy metal and MMA from about the age of, what, like 3?
Let's be real here, though.
Pretty much since you could pay attention to the TV.
Like, the temperament thing, that was going to be an issue anyway. This just gives me an outlet for it.
Yeah. Yes, I hope Holmes wins so women doing TRT doesn't become a thing. Yeah, and that's why I had a really hard time with what's her name, Fox. I can't remember, the one that used to be a man that transitioned over and was not telling people. She was 7-0 and she hadn't told anybody. And that's fair if people want to fight. You know, her at that point, whatever, that's their decision. But I cannot think of the name for the life of me. Oh yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was absolutely insane. I'm glad that wasn't in the UFC, but it was sanctioned in MMA. I mean, you literally had a dude going in there and just beating chicks up. And then finally, you know, a woman was able to beat him. But, you know, I mean, there's a certain level, of course, where, you know, skill overcomes a lot of things. Obviously, like a Ronda Rousey or Chris Cyborg or Holly Holm, they're going to beat up 99% of men walking the street around their size very, very easily. But when you start dealing with skill levels that are the same or close to the same, and then you got the testosterone levels and the muscle levels, you got to keep it clean and honest. Just like, you know, the USADA testing for steroids and TRT. That's this Rizin thing. I don't have a problem with the Rizin thing in Japan because everybody knows what it's going to be. It's going to be pride all over again. It's going to be the knees. It's going to be the kicks to the head. There will be little, if any testing. I don't know if you knew, there was in the Pride contract, it was actually written in back then that there would be no steroid testing. So there was very little doubt that a lot of those guys were on steroids. They let them know up front, we are not going to test you. So that's going to be available actually on smart TVs. It's going to be available on Roku. I can't remember the site, but if you Google it, you can find it pretty easily. I'd like to do a fight cast for that. I'm actually more excited about doing a fight companion for that, maybe even than the UFC on December 30th. That one I would really like to. Well, problem is one of them's at 1 a.m. Pacific time because of the time zone difference. The other one's at 10 p.m., which isn't such a big deal. The next event she will do live. I want to do the UFC on. I wanted to do Rafael dos Anjos and Robbie Lawler coming up. I have to work that day, so whatever's coming up next in the pipe. Usually I don't work late on Saturdays, but somebody asked for the day off, and I ended up stuck at work. So whatever's coming up next down the pipeline, if anything, definitely. That whole New Year's Eve weekend, possibly be doing both Rizin events and the UFC. Definitely the UFC, December 30th. So that'll be fun. Thanks for the thumbs up, whoever gave me that, and the extra viewer. The Lomachenko Rigo fight, that was a little disappointing, but it was nice. I had a fun time doing the live stream on that. I learned a lot about Lomachenko. I hadn't been in boxing. I'd gotten out of boxing for a long time, and then I got into Lomachenko. I just started seeing his shoulder movements, and the way that he moved around the ring just reminded me of like the James Toney and the Roy Jones Jr.'s, the Bernard Hopkins, and this guy's like a hybrid. But this guy, he went to his dad, and he told him, you know, he wants to be a boxer, he wants to be a champion, and he told him, you're going to take off boxing and you're going to take classical dancing for 4 years. Dude did nothing but take dancing for 4 years. Did not throw a punch for 4 years. They asked his father, said, when did you know that Lomachenko was going to be a world champion? And he looked at him sternly and said, in the womb. That's some Russian shit right there. You don't get that over there. He said he knew in the womb his son was going to be champion. And I think he's the top pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now, without a doubt. And I was really happy. Actually, you guys on here, a couple of the people on here introduced me, got me excited about that fight because I haven't been paying attention to a lot of boxing. I don't know how much boxing you watch, Zoltan, but I don't know if you watch the Lomachenko-Rigo fight. Look up some Lomachenko, man. Well, that was weird. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but still tried to take a call there. So everything. Watch Chris Eubank versus George Groves. I am embarrassed, Fred, but I am at a loss. That is a boxing match. Like I said, I have not been up on boxing recently. I'm gonna send me a video. Send me a video of the event or when it is, and I'll do some research on it. And if you guys are interested in it, I will try to do it. I said, I just have not been up on boxing for a long time. I used to be a huge fan, and a lot of poor decisions, weird stoppages, and just weird referees. I don't watch much boxing, but I like boxing aspect of MMA, and I like kickboxing. Says Zoltan, more than boxing, 5 rounds. December 30th UFC. Yeah, that'll be fun. The December 30th UFC will definitely be fun. 5 fights I care about on the December 30th UFC card, Zoltan says. Yeah, that's a pretty stacked card too. That's going to be a pretty awesome card. It's not just the Holly Holm thing. I'm trying to remember that one actually. I don't have young David right now. He's taking some mentoring, so I gotta I got to do my own internet research as I'm speaking here. Pull up the card. Smolka, Usman, Condit, Lineker, Khabib. The Khabib Barbosa fight is insane. That is going to be absolutely crazy, and it sounds like Khabib was right on with his weight this time. Yeah, I'm super jacked about that one. That one is gonna be crazy. Did you watch the Stipe on JRA shit? That shit was good. Yeah, that was awesome. I already like Stipe Miocic a lot, and I just gained that much more respect for him. Yeah, Stipe is a cool dude, Zoltan said. How can you be a firefighter and you're the UFC world champion? I mean, you can't get much cooler than that. And that's like the top of the cool meter, man. I can't imagine. I feel stressed because I have a hard time keeping up with a couple jobs and getting on here to do a podcast with you guys every once in a while because he loves hanging out with the guys at the station. He's a prankster. Yeah, I thought that was funny how he said he was a prankster and he talked shit at the, back at work and, because he's not a shit talker as a fighter, and he talked about that. I liked how he said, I just go in there and fight. Sometimes I kind of wish he would promote a little bit, because I'm a sucker for that stuff. I'm pissed off at Conor right now. Honestly, I don't care when he fights, but I am a sucker for that promotion stuff. I mean, I was a sucker. The Mike Tyson fights, I would watch a 30-second promo on a Mike Tyson fight, and I'd pay $100 to watch him fight your neighbor. I didn't care. Just an adrenaline junkie for all that kind of stuff. Francis is going to win. LOL snapped. I'm taking Stipe. I'm taking Stipe now. I'm calling it. It could go either way. I love Francis Ngannou. I love both these guys. Don't get me wrong. Conor versus Tony is supposed to be a sure thing now. I've heard that. I've heard it go back and forth. Honestly, I mean, I was enjoying the Conor show up until here recently. All weigh-ins, Francis said to Overhood, you go to sleep Saturday. He's a good shit talker. Yeah, dude, I love him, and he's got such a great backstory. He was homeless 3 years ago. Conor said, fuck UFC. Yeah, well, he can make a lot of money in boxing, so I don't believe what Conor's going to do next until I see him actually in the cage. Did you guys see what Floyd Mayweather came out and said, though? Floyd Mayweather was in the news. He came out and said that Conor is delusional. Yeah, he seems manic recently, but he's made $100 million, so, I mean, more power to him for that. But, yeah, he seems very delusional, just like a manic, crazy man lately. But Floyd Mayweather came out and said, if I fight in the UFC, I will make $1 billion. He said if he fought 3 or 4 times... So I don't know if he's just trying to keep his name in the news, which is quite likely. But would you guys be interested in seeing Floyd Mayweather in the UFC at this point? I'm not so sure I would be. It's time he won, though. Snap said, yeah, Floyd versus CM Punk would be competitive in the UFC, said Fred the Shed. That's kind of how I felt, that you bring Fred in there and it's just gonna water down the brand. It's going to be a gimmick. Yeah, and Florian said him coming UFC is BS. I think he could and would be interested in a fight. Not $1 billion, though. Yeah, that's craziness. CM Punk. yeah, that's the kind of fighters he's going to fight. I'm sorry. Especially in his 40s, you just cannot get up to speed with the MMA guys today. It's not a boxing match. They're way too talented. CM Punk is a joke. Yeah, CM Punk is a joke. Obviously, it's his name from the WWE, whatever, and he's got what he's got, and that's all he's ever going to have. He's not any better an MMA fighter, doesn't have any more of a chance than any other Joe that walked in off the street. He just had a name from WWE. And he came in and, they showed that and he got his ass kicked. But I would like to see I think I might like to see Floyd Mayweather versus Conor. Dana, I said he might let him fight again. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I heard that Dana said that he might let Conor and Floyd fight again in the ring. I want to see, if I'm going to see it, I want to see Conor and Floyd in the cage. Because I will be rooting for Conor on that one, because Conor will shut all these bitch-ass boxing people up that are talking shit. I said I love boxing. When Oscar De La Hoya and a lot of these other guys talk shit about UFC, like it's still some backroom bar fight with no skills. Floyd Mayweather saying, yeah, Manny. Well, Manny said that he was talking and possibly in negotiations with a fight with McGregor, and Dana White came out and said, immediately threatened to sue Manny Pacquiao. Floyd is an amazing defensive boxer, but in MMA, he gonna drop that soap. Yeah, and I would like to see it old Pride rules too, like in Rizin. Why don't we bring that back for just one night so we can see old Floyd get kicked in the head? He's made enough money in his career, right? Zoltan, I would want to see Floyd versus somebody who is a striker his age, maybe an octagon. And Snap says, LOL, Pride, LOL. Snap, were you listening earlier? Rizin is back. They're going to do a pay-per-view event the 29th and the 31st. Bring back the roids. And they brought back all the roids, dude. Rizin is going to be everything Pride was. They're going to do a 2-day tournament. 29th and the 31st. Joe Ferrero and Frank Trigg are going to be commentating. Knees on the ground, kicks to the head on the ground, everything from back in Pride. Going to be able no drug test. Yeah, as far as I can see, it's going to be just like it was in Pride. And this one, it's in Japan. Very easily orderable. It's going to be orderable on Roku, Apple TV, online. You know, very, very easy to order. $19.99 for one day of the event. And then if you want 2 days of the event, and why wouldn't you watch both days, it's going to be $29.99. I'm going to pay it. John Jones needs to get in on that. John Jones has been in the news. A lot of people have been talking in the news lately. LOL, yeah. Oh, dude, put John Jones and Brock Lesnar. Throw them in Rizin. That would definitely bring Rizin alive. I mean, they would be like Pride back in the day almost instantly. That would cause so much hype. And the controversy, I think, would just help them. Roid them both out. Oh, yeah, for sure. Give Jones some, you know, some coke and give them both some roids. And maybe Nick Diaz can go over there and, you know, smoke some weed. Why not? Which is the stupidest thing to be banned in the world, which is weed. But talking about John Jones again, it's crazy. Zoltan says, Jones on roids and coke versus Brock on TRT and deer balls. John Tainted Substance Jones. I love that. That should be his new nickname. That would be awesome. No, his handlers just came out to the media and said that they think... I hate USADA. Snap says, yeah. Yes, Snapped. John Jones, carriers just came out. Some of his agents said that they expect him to be fighting before the end of next year in the UFC. I don't know if they know something that we don't know or if they're delusional, because everything I heard said he was looking at a 4-year suspension. But I don't know. Who knows? In a way, I kind of want to see him back in the cage. I'd like to see Daniel Cormier kick his ass, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. Oh, well, they did some of his coke. Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, you never know how much control the UFC has, and you saw it in pulling strings and deciding how long different people have. He's done, Snap says. Yeah, he definitely let a lot of people down. A lot of people don't ever want to see him fight again. They want to see him fail because they feel so betrayed, as I did as an early fan. I used to be a big John Jones fan, and I thought he was vindicated. Honestly, after the head kick knockout against DC, I wanted DC to win, but I'm like, hey, good for him. Need to get rid of USADA. I want to see him win even more now. Oh, that's funny, Snap. Yeah, you can go to Rizin. I don't know, but you got guys like Mark Hunt with his lawsuit that have something to say about that. Mark Hunt's coming back here quickly too. He figured out his troubles with the UFC. He just signed, I believe, for UFC 221 in February. So I will be watching anytime Mark Hunt gets in a cage because that dude is completely awesome. I kind of wish he was in that Bellator heavyweight tournament, though. I think he would win it. Matt Mitrione would probably be the only guy to give him. Zoltan says, I think UFC needs to insist in Saudi immediately releases results so a fighter can insist retest. So USADA can't fake test and pull strings at the UFC's untable money. Definitely agree with you, Zoltan. Francis for sure not on roids also. No, I don't think Francis is on roids either. But yeah, for a while I think a lot of people there were on roids, but not right now. Frankie Edgar, I was listening to a little bit of the MMA Hour. Of course, Frankie Edgar's going to get the shot now against releasing results weeks later is BS over him. LOL from Snapped. Yeah, releasing the weeks after is really BS, Zoltan, because what's happened in the past, which is crazy, is that fighters are getting into the cage with fighters that USADA knows is on roids, and the UFC knows is on roids, and the fighter getting in them does not know it. Now, I believe that sets them up for some kind of criminal prosecution, possibly in the future. And Mark Hunt has a lawsuit against the UFC, and obviously the UFC doesn't seem too worried about it because they just put him for another fight. Zoltan says, Francis is natural, not held back by crazy GMO food and fluoride, chloramine, tap water. And Noah says, USADA needs to get rid of drug test. Fred the says, Francis just drinks bull sperm straight from the tap. It's his main source of protein. Do you guys who listen to JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience, I can't think of the doctor's name. Zoltan's laughing at that. Yeah, but I can't think of the doctor's name. But he came on there, and it was just a few days back. You can look it up. He eats only meat, and he's been eating only meat for about a year. He's 50 years old. He swears by it. Apparently, this is a diet some people are doing with some pretty good success. He's a world-class athlete. He just broke a record in rowing. Ronda was a fraud, Snap said. Ronda was what the UFC needed to bring female into the UFC because she was a pretty face. She was an Olympian. She was a talent Olympian. Don't forget she was in 2 Olympics. So, I mean, she was earning her stripes from the time she was 12, 14 years old. Maybe she couldn't fight Cyborg, set her up versus bar fighters. Yeah. Fred the Sheds is Sean Baker. Sean Baker, that name sounds familiar. I've heard that recently. I don't know.
Made cupcakes.
I have no internet resource right now, so I have just the brain in my head. I'm trying to think of what I remember Sean Baker from. But,
I'm giving my person.
Come on, bitch looks dumb. Oh, Betch, you talking about Betch Kohea? Yeah, oh yeah, she looks dumb, but her name's fun to say. Hey, Betch. Yeah.
Last year, whoever
Ronda killed her. She killed a lot of people, and I thought it was going to be, her first test was really going to be against Kat Zingano. I don't know what happened there. The doctor you were talking about, I think his name is Sean Baker. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Fred the Shed. Yeah, I think Sean Baker. Yeah. Holy smoke, Ronda Snap says, hey, I got to admit, I thought Ronda was pretty hot. Cat sucks, too. Yeah. Well, Miocic Tate was overrated, right? And that was a lot of it. I mean, Miocic Tate beat her, or she beat Miocic Tate, excuse me. But she was kind of overrated. But it was that growing process for the female division. Everybody knew Cyborg was the cream of the crop, but they also knew she was tainted. But speaking of female fighting, what about Zoltan says, Ronda shouldn't be striking like Damian Maia needs to be just dive roll people and grab their legs desperately to have a chance now. Not going to catch up with people 10 years ahead in striking. Absolutely, Zoltan. And that idiot coach of hers trying to teach her to be a striker or whatever. I can't think of that guy's name. I can't pronounce it if it was in front of me. But he's an absolute retard and a fraud. Been proven several times, and I don't know why her and her husband continue to use that guy. Head movement. She has no head movement. Edmund is a joke. Yeah, Edmund Tarevin or something like that. I can't pronounce his name. It doesn't even matter. He's a piece of shit as far as I'm concerned, and he's a fraud. He's being sued for several fraud suits, including a real estate scam. She should have listened to her father on that one. Or excuse me, her mother. But yeah, no, she has excellent judo. Edmund was yelling head movement the whole time during fight is a meme. Yeah, that's definitely a meme. She's got no head movement. And
there it goes.
I'm gonna say something that's might come off as a little bit racist as towards white people, but white people haven't historically been known for head movement in the fight game. Let's be real in boxing. When you think about head movement, Ronda can't even throw a jab. Yeah, well, she definitely can't get out of the way from one. You know, and she can't get out of the way of that question mark kick either from Holly Holm. That was crazy. And then Amanda Nunes finished her off. I say she goes to Bellator. If I was her, I might go to Bellator as that division rises up. She'd probably get a couple wins, get a few more movie roles, and then transition into her movie career because that's where she is before she gets too beat up, before she gets old. So, but yeah, Frankie Edgar was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and I'm changing subjects fast, but he's going to be fighting Max Holloway here soon. Talk all that crap about Cyborg and us, you don't want to fight her. Yeah, very much so, but Cyborg is very much roided up. She said she'd fight her before at 135. But no, Frankie Edgar's going to be fighting Max Holloway. I think that's going to be an incredible fight. Frankie Edgar is so fast. I think he can get under Max. But he was on the Ariel Helwani show, and Frankie Edgar really took him to task. I hate Frankie. But Ariel Helwani really took him to task because he had put up a poll right before the interviews. And I think Ariel Helwani's a bit of a troll. I like him sometimes. But he put up a poll right before he had Frankie Edgar coming on the show with him that said, who do you think deserves the next shot? LOL, he's my hero. Snap, that's fine. Yeah. He's definitely entertaining. But yeah, no, he kind of trolled him. He put up a poll right before it says, who do you think deserves the next shot? Edson Barbosa or Frankie Edgar? I want to see Helwani versus Dana White in UFC. Oh, God, Helwani would die. You would have to bury him, literally. He cannot fight at all. He's better than most fighters. Snapped. Yeah, Dana's a good fighter. Dana was a good fighter. He was a professional boxer. He was running some kickboxing classes in Boston before the Mafia kicked him out. Not Dana. I don't know anything about Ariel Helwani's fighting. I didn't realize he had much fighting skills. I know he looks like a skinny dweeb that I would knock over with a medium push. But he don't. Yeah. Yeah, no. Zoltan said he was going to box Tito. I wanted to see that so bad, too. And then I could be wrong because it's been a long time ago, but I believe it was Tito that backed out of the match. And you think about it, who has the most to lose in that match at the time? Tito Ortiz, the MMA fighter? Tito pulled out. Yeah, that's the way I remember it, Zoltan. Tito pulled out. Yeah, that would have been super embarrassing for him to lose to a promoter. I mean, Dana had nothing to lose. Dana had everything to gain. Snapped, I want to see someone whoop Dana's ass. Yeah, I don't think Dana's getting in a cage, dude. He can get in with Ariel Helwani, but I think he'd knock Ariel Helwani out in about 3 seconds. But, yeah, no, he was really trolling Frankie Edgar today, though. Like I said, the poll with him and Edson Barbosa, he was trying to stir up shit about who should get the next shot, if Edson Barbosa should get it now. Of course, Edson Barbosa just had an incredible victory over Cub Swanson. That was an awesome submission that we all watched. But that wasn't very nice. If you listen to it, it's towards the beginning of the show. Zoltan says Dana is the shit. I have always liked Dana. He pisses me off at times, but I do like him as a promoter. We definitely would not have the UFC as it is today without him. Barbosa should get it, says Snapped. Barbosa's a beast, and Frankie Edgar seems to get title shots all the time out of his ass. So I don't have a problem with that poll. I wouldn't have a problem with Edson Barbosa getting it. I love the straight talk attitude. His straight talk attitude, says Zoltan. He definitely has a straight talk attitude, and that's the way he made his name, and he doesn't back down. And the network among fighters and commentators and everything that he's made is incredible. I am definitely a big fan. He was one of these guys that was a follower of the sport, of course, before it was big, and he helped make it. He helped build it, as far as I'm concerned. Snap says, Frankie always gets title fight and drop the ball. Yes, he does. Barbosa could do one of those crazy springboarded knees, but I see Khabib taking it. Nobody wants to fight Khabib right now, dude. If he beats Barbosa, if he gets a shot at Tony Ferguson or whoever's carrying that title, and he makes weight and comes in healthy, God help them, because he's going to bring fire and fury, as I heard someone put that before. Khabib the man. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Frankie is aggressive, but fights too defensive in title fights, says Zoltan. Dude, nobody is beating, I'm going to say it right now, nobody is beating Khabib if he makes weight at that weight right now. And I would love to see Khabib knock Conor the fuck out. I do want to see Conor versus Nate Diaz 3, don't get me wrong. But before or after, I want to see Khabib knock Conor the fuck out. And I'm going to go ahead and end on that because I got a performance to get to. My multi-talented wrestling daughter's got a band performance tonight, so I'm going to get ready for that. Hey, thanks for tuning in to everybody, guys. I would... Snap says, Abel Trujillo almost knocked Khabib out. Yeah, he did catch him.